All right, here we are at the shop. Got a little job to do here. This is obviously a roller, an asphalt roller, and you may have heard me refer to what I call the Moore welding syndrome, and people tend to get that. It's a disease, you know. It affects a lot of people. This is probably what I would call a textbook example of Moore welding syndrome. This is the water tank for the roller. It has water in it, I guess, so that it doesn't stick, you know, so that these wheels don't stick to the asphalt. The water comes out of here and goes down, and obviously it dribbles out of those jets. Well, this water tank, I guess, was leaking, and obviously it's been it's been welded, and so I guess what happened was it was leaking. I mean, I guess it's, oh boy, it's a big tank. I mean, I guess this thing is probably, you know, well, I don't know, I'll do the math, but I'll bet you the thing's probably 50, 60 gallons or more. And I guess it must have cracked or whatever along here, and somebody welded it. I'm trying to get you an idea of the depth of this thing here. You can, I mean, here's my thumb. Look at the amount of weld on that, you know. I mean, that's just, so that is, as I like to call it, a classic example, textbook example of Moore welding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of all of this and try to ascertain what's actually under there and see if we can fix it. We'll be back. A little bit more on that whole Moore welding syndrome. The reason I call it the Moore welding syndrome, like I said, this is a textbook example of it, is because, again, and this is the case of, like I say, a water tank here, and, you know, so they welded it, and, you know, was still leaking. So if it's still leaking, it must need more welding. So they put more welding. But you know what? It was still leaking. So it must need, if it's still leaking, must need more welding. So that's my whole theory on the whole Moore welding thing. Now, again, as I said, this all has to go away so that we can actually find out what the problem is under here. Oh geez, we must have what, 6, 7 inches of weld on here. Who knows? The crack could be, you know, no bigger than that long, you know, or something like that. But, you know, again, it, you know, was deceiving, so they just kept adding more and more. So the first thing, as I said, is to remove the Moore welding. My preferred method for doing that is this, the, you know, carbon arc gouging, air arcing, I guess would be the brand name, whatever. So that's where we're going to begin. We're going to put a carbon arc, you know, stick in there, and we're going to go ahead and get rid of all that excessive weld that's not doing anything. So we'll get rid of that, and then we'll bring it back after that. Okay, it appears as though we've gotten down to the crack. I air arced all that stuff that was on there off, and I guess probably even due to the warmth of the process of just the, you know, the air arcing and the grinding, you can actually, I'm guessing you'll be able to see this, I've got a kind of a groove even when I found that I started grooving it even with the grinder. What I am surprised about, I didn't realize, I assumed this was a rolled over seam. It is a welded seam. I didn't realize this seam is welded here. I didn't realize that, but it is. So so what I'm going to do, I think I'm sufficiently far enough out. I'm just going to drill a hole on either end of this thing, and you know, it's a little breezy out here, but you can see, even, I guess it probably wasn't a great thing to start with, you can see here certain places. I don't think that was actually from the welding they did in an attempt to repair it. I think these bits of porosity in here may have been from the original from the original weld, and probably that's why it began to crack. So I may even go in here and try to take a little bit more of this out. And even though it's breezy, maybe I can set up something, and maybe what I'll do is I'd like to be able to heliarc actually to start this, and then and I'd feel a lot better about it after that. So let me see what I can do, but I'm going to start by drilling the ends of this, because I think I'm sufficiently far enough out. And then, like I said, I think I'm going to dig in here a little more. I may go get a die grinder with a whiz wheel on it and dig in here a little more. And like I say, I'm thinking now I may even want to heliarc this thing, because I think with all these porosity problems here, this thing might keep coming back. So if I could do that, I think I might feel a little bit better about it. We'll see what I can do. All right, so after a little die grinding there with the whiz wheel and a couple of holes drilled, now I guess it's quite apparent, the crack there. So yeah, I don't know, I'm definitely thinking I'd like to heliarc at least this root to get this thing pretty well, punched in there. So I think I'm going to do that. I don't want something as violent as the stick, and I'll be very honest with you, for something like this, I just don't like MIG at all. So I think I'm gonna try to, set up some sort of a shield or something, because it's a little breezy and it's blowing right, this way. So I'm gonna try to set up a little shield here and definitely heliarc this root. Then maybe we'll do the low hydrogen shuffle after that, and we'll see. So we'll be back. Okay, so what we've done now is we've heliarced a couple passes in there. Put one up in here, and then one right along the edge was how I ran that one. Still quite hot, but I ran one along here, one up along the top here. So that's 2 passes heliarced in there. So now I'll put a few passes with a stick, in other words, just caps. In other words, to cap it. And I think that'll pretty much be it. But I definitely feel better about having that heliarced rather than just going with stick on there. Well, I think that's going to be it. Again, so zoom in there a little bit. I've capped it. Even that's a bit more, I believe, than necessary. I just, what I did was I wound up, I put 1, 2, and then 1 across the top with the low hydrogen stick. We got the 2 heliarc passes in there, kind of as a root, and then we got 1 and 2 and then 3, third one across the top with the stick. And I believe that's actually way more than what we need. Probably could have actually just turned it down and just, probably just weaved 1 gentle pass, across the whole thing with the stick low hydrogen. But I wound up, like I said, doing 3. I'm fairly confident that that's certainly more than enough weld to hold that, and I think we're going to be just fine. So what I'll do is we'll still real hot, so I'll let it cool down. I guess I'll bring it around to the hose and fill it up and see how we do. But I'm pretty confident we're going to be all right. All right. That's the sound of a full tank of water and bone dry. So I guess we've done okay. Yeah, like I say, you can see here that it's just about full, and that's 100 gallons. So I have to assume that we are going to be okay here. One more quick check, just to make sure. Yep, everything's dry. All right, I guess that'll wrap this up. And again, that's one of the pitfalls of of more welding, as I like to call it. More welding is not necessarily better welding or even good welding. You can overdo it, and you can make a bad situation worse by, you know, over welding. And that's especially in a situation like this where you have a seam that's, you know, kind of, you know, it's an important thing, you know, because I mean, you know, you've got 100 gallons of water sloshing around in there, and you know, and again, with that porosity that was in there, you know, way better to have gotten into there and found the problem initially and repaired it, rather than, you know, just piling weld on it like that. It's just not going to be what you want. So I guess that wraps this up. One more time just to make sure we're dry, and we are. Well, that's going to wrap it. So that's this is finished. So I think that's going to be it. And remember, as some famous guy once said, everybody polka. Okay, see you next time.